Hello everybody! Alright, so today we're going to go over how to control your tasker using n8n. n8n is a super powerful automation platform that you can use on your computer, or you can self-host it using like a cloud VPS, which is a virtual private server. I highly recommend you guys look into that, but not today. So here we are inside of n8n. This is what it's going to look like. Before we get started, you're going to need Termux. This is what it looks like. It's floating, whatever, use that thing. You're gonna need that so you can get the IP address of your phone, and assume you guys have it. Just make sure you download it before you continue. So the first thing we're going to wanna do is hit N or hit this plus over here, either one works. This is gonna pop up. These are your triggers. We don't really care about those right now, so I'm gonna do a manual and move that off to the side. What we want is HTTP request, right? So the first thing we're going to do here is set up our HTTP request, because we want this to reach out over your Wi-Fi to your cell phone on Tasker, right? But we're gonna set up this and we're gonna go in order. So the first thing that we have to do is set up our method to post. There's two main types of HTTP requests. There's many more, but these are the ones we're gonna focus on right now. There's a get, which means you're reaching out and pulling data in, and then there's a post, which means you're taking data and giving it out. Since we are controlling Tasker from n8n, we want post. Next, you're going to want to copy this directly in there. We'll change them as time goes on. http:// your phone IP : Tasker port / and then this is going to be the location that it's going to reach out to. So we're going to call this toot_n8n command, right? Don't worry about that right now. We'll get to each one of those pieces. We're just going in order. And then we're going to want to select body, all right? Now, we're going to be using JSON to transfer data because it's going to make things significantly easier, but it's also essentially the primary way that data is transferred on the internet. We do not want these values because we want to customize a little bit more. So we're going to click the specify body right here, move down to using JSON, and we'll get started right here. So you can copy this directly for the sake of this tutorial. It'll make sense in just a moment. You want 2 curly brackets, go inside one, click enter. Now you're ready. This is where you're going to create your variables inside of n8n that you are getting ready to transfer over to Tasker. So what we're going to do here is the task name, all right? So we're gonna type quotes, because you don't want to transfer a variable, you want to actually transfer like a text, and it works backwards in Tasker. Task_name, and make sure you use underscores because this is exactly what Tasker is going to look for. We don't know if it's going to get spaces or not. It's also going to turn into a variable, and I'm not certain how that's going to transfer either, so we're using underscores. : and then we're going to call this n8n toot command. All right, comma, enter, and then we're going to add in text. That's going to be our secondary variable. And we're going to call this automation mastery. Sweet. So this is completely ready. So now we're going to move over to Tasker. All right, so here we are in Tasker. The first thing that we have to do is create the actual listener that our n8n instance or node is going to reach out to. All right, so we hit new, and we're going to go event, and then we're going to look for HTTP request, because that's what we're receiving. So this is essentially going to open up a listener for your phone, waiting for data to be sent to it in Tasker, right? So first things first, we want to set our port. We're going to set this to 8888. Super simple, right? And now that we have our port, it's time to hop back over to our n8n, and we're going to change that value in order, 8888, just like that. All right, so now we're back in Tasker. Sweet. And we're going to go down to our method. Now remember, we had our 2 that we were going to look for, but we only cared about 1 right now, and that's post, because we're sending data from n8n over to Tasker. So we click here, post, right? Because that's what it's expecting in Tasker. Now, our path. This was that /toot_n8n, as you can see here. Yep, right here, that toot_n8n command. I'm just going to copy that and go back to Tasker, and we're going to paste that right here. Make sure you have the / at the beginning. That is important. Quick response. So we never want to leave this empty-handed. We always want to give a response back of some sort when doing an HTTP request. Otherwise, this node is just going to sit there and spin forever, and that's not what we want. So 200 is the symbol for OK in computer speak, and then you can add a message after it. Let's say command received. Sweet. Timeout, I usually make this 5 seconds just because why not? And then down here, you can add extra other things if you wanted to. You could set like the MAC address or the network. I typically click on only use in Wi-Fi because I don't want this port listening all the time. I only want it accessible when I'm in Wi-Fi, more specifically when I'm at home. So you can go down these conditions. You can add in like specific IP addresses and specific headers present and all that good stuff to make sure that no random Joe can just hit this on your phone, but it is not required. So now that we have our tasker trigger set up, the next thing that we want to do is go get your IP, because you can't add this back into your n8n node HTTP request sending data if you don't have your IP. What we're gonna do is we're going to hop over to Termux. Now I know, black screen, big, scary, don't worry about it. The two things you need to worry about is ifconfig, enter, and this is where you get your phone's IP address, right here at the bottom. It should say inet, and then it'll say a number right here. Mine's blocked out because I don't want you guys knowing where I live. So there's that, and then there's these other two that are going to exist here. Don't worry about any of those. The only one you worry about is the bottom, right? And then once you're done, you exit, and there it goes, it's gone. Sweet. So now we're going to go back to our n8n. And in our n8n, you're going to place your IP address for your phone right here. For me, I'm just gonna put 10s because I don't want you guys to know my IP address is. So there you go. Now this is completely set up. It's ready to go. We can exit this and move back over to Tasker. Now that we're in Tasker, what we're going to do here is now it's time to tell it what to do once it receives the command. And we're going to name this n8n commander, right? It's just automatically going to run this when that hits and pass the data in there. Now, what we want here is the perform task, okay? So what's going to happen is n8n is going to send both the name of the task it wants you to run and a parameter. And notice we have right here the name of the task we want to run and a parameter. So when it receives a request, it's going to give you all of these different values that come from that request. We don't want those right now because Tasker has this really nifty thing where if it's a base level inside of a JSON object, which is what we set up, then it will automatically set its value to its variable. So usually you would want to use the request body right here. We're not going to do that. Right now, we're just going to type in what we put inside of n8n, which was task or percent for a variable, task underscore name. And then we want to put in the other variable that we added inside of n8n, which was percent text. And that's all we want to do here. That's it. That's the only thing that goes in here. All right. So now n8n is going to hit this. It's going to run that, but we're still not done yet, because we need to give it the command to actually run. If I run this right now, it's just like Tasker's gonna get mad at me. It's gonna be like, that task doesn't exist. The name of the task you want to run needs to be the same exact name as the value right here inside of n8n. So we're gonna copy that. We're going to paste that right here inside of Tasker. So that's our new name. Sweet. And then obviously this is a tutorial, so we're just gonna do a simple flash. And we're going to put not percent text. No, because this is going to be run from a perform task, it changes the variable into a different variable right here because we use parameter 1. That's what we want to go here. All right, now before we go forward, I'm just going to really quick change the notification because I hate default notifications. Okie doke. And we're done. So now that we have that finished, that is the last thing we had to do. Let's click enter. And now it's time to go back over to our n8n and run the task. And let me move this over to the side so I can show you both at the same time. Sweet. And now we have these both running. If I click this, execute workflow, or hit the one at the bottom, it does not matter. Click, I said click. There it is. It goes through, Here it is. Boom. You know what to do. Press the buttons. All right, peace.